thought you knew was turned upside down, opposite from your point of view. How would you feel if the ground was really the sky? And all of this time you've been walking when you could have been flying. If you run 1,000 miles a minute, you can't expect to wear out a few pairs of shoes. If you forget how to love and take it for granted, you can't expect to wear out people close to you. And what if all the birds were flying just to show us? And all the trees were really holding the sky up. And everything that you do matters somehow. What if heaven and hell was right now? How would it be if you really created your life? Stories you told, the good and bad, that they come alive. And how would it change if your words were like nails and wood? You build your house, but you forget that it's just a house. You can rebuild it. Oh yes. And what if all the birds were flying just to show us? And all the trees were really holding the sky up. And everything that you do matters in the end. What if all of our mistakes are forgiven? What if love is a lot of listening, a little bit of time, not pretending? We are caught up in a world of daydreams. What if loving what you have is everything? What if all the birds were flying just to show us? And all the trees were really holding the sky up. And everything that you do matters so much. How would you change your life? Oh yeah. How would it be if everything that you thought you knew was turned upside down, opposite from your point of view? Right next to each other. Let's see here. Every day we have to choose one of two boxes. Even before we're born, they ask pink or blue. What side of the store do you shop on? What salon or barber? Will they say your name and the pronouns you use? Oh yeah. Oh, not everyone fits into a tux or a prom dress. Not everyone has the right box to check that makes sense. You might not understand if you find it easy to choose a restroom without making someone angry. What if one size fits all doesn't fit you at all? Everything is made for bodies smaller than you. It's always the same advice: exercise and eat less, tying all your troubles to the weight you could lose. Oh yeah. Oh, not everyone fits into a tux or a prom dress. Oh, not everyone is a model on a magazine rack. If beauty standards changed, then it would be easy to try on any look or style that makes you feel fancy. Oh, it's so important to feel fancy, y'all. What if the way you are is not the right way to be? Who you love, or where you live, or what you believe. You're either not enough or too much. The pressure is intense when the way you think and talk is neurodivergent. Oh, not everyone fits into a tux or a prom dress. Oh, not everyone has the right box to check that makes sense. Could we make room for everyone to belong? Cause aren't we all better off being true to who we are? Oh, not everyone fits. Ooh, not everyone fits. Oh, not everyone fits into a tux or a prom dress. Oh, not everyone fits. Ooh, not everyone fits. Oh, not everyone fits into a tux or a prom dress.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Unity Church, a place where, as our guest artist Ellis said, no matter who you love, where you live, you don't have to check a box to fit in. You are welcome here, just as you are. My name is Reverend Kathleen Rolenz. I'm serving as your interim senior minister, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to today's Sunday service, which is celebrating and honoring our Coming of Age program. And also I wanted to give a shout out to those who are watching us online this morning at 9 a.m. or those who may be watching us later on YouTube. Whether this is your first or your 400th time, please know that your gifts and your wounds are welcome here. I want to encourage visitors, newcomers, and inquirers to attend a Finding Yourself at Unity gathering, which is a weekly conversation. It'll meet today, 10:15 to 11:15 in the Gannett Room. And today's topic is about congregational and pastoral care. Just a couple of things to draw to your attention as we begin. After today's service, please join us in the parish hall for coffee, tea, and conversation. Please greet a visitor. And stop by the book stall where they're having a spring book sale, something I know many of you will be interested in. You can buy 2 books for the price of one, or 2 books and get one of any price free of selected titles. So make your mad dash to the book stall after the service. And then as you consider your plans for this week, there are 2 important and upcoming events. One is that the Gun Sense team invites you to a rally on Tuesday, April 25th from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Minnesota State Capitol steps to call on legislators to get common sense gun legislation passed. So you are invited to attend that event. And on Friday, April 28th at 7 p.m. in the Parish Hall and online, there's going to be a coffee house. The library bookstall team is sponsoring an annual coffee house featuring music of all kinds and original writing by members of the congregation. That sounds like a lovely time, big fun. Do plan to come. All right, let's join our hearts and minds and voices together in singing hymn 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Sing, before we sing, call to worship and lighting of our chalice, of course. Thank you.
Canceled. It makes me far less nervous than usual to be standing here today because I know that you aren't really looking at me. You're looking at these balloons. Aren't they great? It's a party in the chancel. But do these silly things belong here in this venerable sanctuary, this serious house of worship? Most of you know that these balloons tell us that yesterday our 9th graders in coming of age presented their statements of belief. Those youth, considering their beliefs and their purposes and really the meaning of life, even while acknowledging the difficult, troubled world they have been growing up in these past several years, presented a message filled with love and hope and a determination to seek as a goal happiness for all. So let's party. Come, let us worship together. Please remain standing. And would you join me in reading responsively number 657? It matters what we believe. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world.
Each time we gather for worship, we set aside a moment to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. And together we recognize the cycle of life and death, the circle of love, compassion, and witness that is at the center of this and every sacred community. We stand at the side of parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is caring for children, with those who live with grief or chronic pain, with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental disability or addiction. We pray for our neighbors in prison and those who care for family members in ill health, and those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty. Our lives are blessed by those who knowingly and with curiosity and courage face their final days, and by those who rise above heartbreak to challenge oppression in all of its forms. We pray for those in harm's way, for the wisdom and strength of the leaders of the world, and for the people of this courageous congregation as together we live into our longing to embody and to help build beloved community. Please pray with me now all these we name out loud. A celebration of life for Donna Gustafson, who died November 4th, 2022, at the age of 93, will be held here at Unity Church at 11 a.m. on April 29th. Donna joined Unity in 1980. She was a passionate advocate for social justice and started the St. Paul Yoga Center. She was the mother to 8 children, including Unity member Kim Gustafson. We want to acknowledge a milestone passing. Francis Elliott Foote Stamen, who's the eldest of the Reverend Arthur Foote's children and the last one living, died in Ellsworth, Maine this past year. Reverend Foote served Unity Church from 1945 until 1970. Our prayers are with Pat Rapinski, who will be having knee replacement surgery on Tuesday, April 25th, and she looks forward to being with us as soon as she is mobile. I invite you now to speak aloud the names of those that you would like to hold in prayer this day. Christine, Michael, family of Mitch Squire. And now will you pray with me? O Spirit of life, be with us in the holy quiet of this hour as we center ourselves in this moment in time. For each of us knows there is a wisdom that resides in, amongst, and beyond us. We hold in care this day the youth of our congregation and all those youth beyond these walls who are coming of age in a world that feels increasingly fragmented and fearful. Remind them and us that there are and always have been those who choose to redeem the world with their care, those who tend to themselves, each other, and this planet with exquisite love and mindful attention, and live as if every day matters, for it does. Remind us, O Spirit of life, that they and we are those people. We are the ones born and commissioned to live as one more Redeemer. We pray this day especially for all children and youth's health and well-being, for there are no other people's children. We vow to co-create a world with them in which human dignity is cherished, human, animal, and plant justice is assured, and to make our earthly home not a paradisal dream, but a lived expression of beloved community. We hold now these prayers in a time of silence, knowing that it is in silence where so often great things fashion themselves. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.
Things are different from what they were 3 years ago, before the pandemic. We want to say that we have returned to normal, but we all know we have changed. Restaurants and stores, our workplaces, and certainly schools know that we have changed. And we feel it here in religious education. Enrollment numbers have risen steadily. Class sizes are rising. But attendance is another story. Attendance, the number of kids showing up week to week consistently, that is down. Teacher friends tell me that that is true in school as well. So, have people gotten lazy? Or are we all still scared to leave our houses? Or could it be that families and all of us are reprioritizing what they feel committed to make happen consistently? My guess is that that is true. The coming of age class this year almost doubled from last year, but attendance was inconsistent. More kids missed more often, often choosing other commitments. And the class felt different. But be clear, by different, I don't at all mean less good. See, I think this class, more than others, was very much impacted by a particular question running through really all of our minds these days. Why am I? Why are we here? Yesterday, our coming-of-age class presented their statements of belief, or personal credos. These statements are formed after lots of looking within, sharing what they think they know, and admitting what they don't, or have no idea how they're going to answer. It is our Unitarian rite of passage. They're asked to consider for themselves the 5 universal questions about the meaning and purpose of being a human being. They are compelled to stand before the congregation explaining these beliefs that will guide them through their precious lives. And that is a big ask. One that is complicated when most of them are wondering, why do our parents think this is important? And honestly, we all understand that. At this tender age, they are preparing for their passage to adulthood, and they are witnessing a world that adults have really screwed up. They have lived through several pretty awful years where humanity has performed very poorly, and I cannot blame them for looking at us and saying, "What the heck do you know?" However, I do them great injustice if I tell you they were, in the end, a cynical and skeptical group, or that maybe their sense of faith and community were irreparably damaged or broken. Apparently, as you will soon hear from these selections of their credos, their faith was not lost.
Just a quick note, Kelly and I have been volunteering for many years as facilitators for coming of age, and Rob and Jen used to ask us why we keep volunteering. The words like this from kids like this is just moving, so let us share some of the pieces with you. Community is important so that people can have a place to share what they're thinking without criticism. It's important, though, even though we have differences, being able to share the same space and share ideas and build off each other's is a really good thing. The connection that I have to everyone around me, how they have helped me grow, is something I would describe as sacred.
I want everyone to benefit. If you feel you did something good and you're all together, that can help create love, and when you feel love, you can't help but feel happy. When we make this kind of community, we act on a commitment to mutual happiness. It's a connection that feels sacred to me. Family is sacred. Hugging a family member is definitely when I feel the sacred presence. A hug is a good thing. Hugs are not boring. They are great every time.
I think beloved community doesn't always need agreement or comfort. In fact, the presence of people with very different backgrounds and perspectives is what makes a community special, as long as every person involved is accepting. Not necessarily accepting everything as correct or being free of judgment, but being willing to listen to others, being respectful, and considering what others think or feel.
Beloved community for me is a feeling, a sense of safety, of calm, of respect, and most of all, a sense of love. When I think of a beloved community, I think of Unity Church. I think of being in the Christmas pageant when I was 7. I think of all those amazing memories, the feeling of safety, of respect, of love. I've made so many connections at church, so many friends, met so many important people in my life that they are now all sacred to me.
Rather than express skeptical cynicism, which, face it, is their job as teenagers, this group was, against all odds, seemingly quite willing to admit they have optimism about what humans might be capable of, that our lives mean something, that they mean something big, something more. Maybe anything or everything is possible. Maybe higher power is present right now, right here. And they can and they will admit much in this life is sacred.
I like to say that I believe in magical things, in beings, in ghosts. You can give me scientific and logical reasons that something can't possibly exist. But all I think is, why not? There's a whole world of endless possibilities. Maybe that's childish. Maybe I watched too much Disney or read too many fairy tales. I think it's not only fun, but healing to believe that anything is possible in the endless expanse of space and life.
Watching the sunset is so peaceful to me. The sun and the sky are such wide things. They could be godlike or not, maybe not. To me, there is a greater thing out there that humans are just unable to picture. And it's just always kind of there. Mind doesn't decide everything about everyone, and it doesn't have control over everything. It's more like a helping hand.
The mystery. That's the nature of the higher power for me, a toss-up that I will never know the winner of. The mystery is almost in alignment with what is sacred, this tingly feeling you get when something is just right. I feel it in the pool, making music, playing video games, in the wilderness, even with all the bear poop. Maybe, just maybe, when in conjunction with the beloved community.
Being human means to be a follower in life, to listen, and to be influenced by other humans. I would think the place for such things would be here for many. I admire how open everyone seems to be to others' ideas, even if Unitarians appear to wander in different directions, lacking uniformity in outright beliefs.
No doubt part of my dog Izzy's charm is that she's not human. She doesn't know about racism, homophobia, gender equality, doesn't know about world hunger, pollution, or climate change. Sometimes I don't want to know about these things either. I want to focus on the day-to-day, playing tennis, playing piano, laughing with friends, watching a Twins game or a horror movie. Being human is about balancing the day-to-day and the broader world, appreciating what you have and finding a way forward.
I've always been told that I am strong-willed. If I want something, I get it. I won't back down. I've been told many times that the trait that makes me unlikable or annoying, but sometimes it's the only thing I can trust in. My strong will is the only thing I've kept my whole life. It's something I have declared sacred.
I want to have a conversation with a stranger and put a smile on her face. I want to make someone's day when they're having a hard time, and I want to try my best to look at the glass half full, which is hard for me. To me, this is where I find a higher power, in the little interactions with strangers that turn my day around, putting things in perspective and save me.
I probably won't ever know what the more is, but for me, it definitely exists. The more, at least for me, might not even be supernatural, but more a natural human thing. I've been resisting saying this, but maybe to be human is to want the more, and in the face of mystery, to push forward and continue the search.
I don't remember the point in class, because it was never expressly asked, where this one theme or question emerged. Is it fair to want to be happy? What is happiness? Is it important to be happy? It may actually have happened when we discussed how we live in the face of loss, grief, and death. In those discussions, did they discern that that is the question that we're all struggling with? Can we embrace hope, joy, happiness?
Everyone should be happy. That has dictated how I thought about everything. From discussing what it means to be human to endless phone calls talking about the existence of a higher power or wondering about death. I have focused on what makes people happy. I try my best to make people laugh. It makes me happier when other people are happy. I think that's what being human is, to get and create happiness from and or for others.
I believe that when you're dead, although I would be open to the idea of an afterlife, reincarnation, or something else entirely, since just dying wouldn't be very fun. I don't know when or how I would die, because that would just give me a bunch of anxiety, and more importantly, I would lose hope. I want to enjoy the time I have by connecting with people, having fun, and not worrying too much about death.
I myself am agnostic. I believe that when we die, we are buried and eventually eaten by worms. Not to badmouth other believers or religions, but going through life, crossing your fingers that you get another one, or acting to earn your soul's place in the sky isn't a life I value. I'm going to try my best to live for the purpose of living, making the most of the time I have with the people that I love and doing what I find sacred.
Even with the deep sadness that comes with funerals, the remembrance and celebration of lives lived brings joy. Not holding on to the sadness, rather enjoying the times we did spend together. Every story told makes you realize you aren't grieving alone. The grief and loneliness that comes with loss is a reminder of the ups and downs of feelings that come not just with living, but with being alive.
I don't know about you, but I don't think the point of life is, well, death, the end. I think there's great value in shifting our perspectives to make the journey the point of learning, rather than some grand destinations or success or whatever else that might be. I find a type of sacred in waking up each day with the goal to experience each moment fully.
At the end of all this, the one thing I know for sure is that what truly makes us all human is that the fact that we just sat here and thought through all these questions, that you all came here to listen to me share my opinions, that you will leave here and maybe think about what you heard, that you and I and all of us sit and wonder. That curiosity is really what connects us all in the end.
Your support of the church is an expression of the promises we make to each other and to the world. Today, the larger portion of our offering will be shared with Unity's Act for the Earth Community Outreach Ministry team. The mission of Unity's Act for the Earth team is to engage the Unity Church community in an action to stop climate change, species extinction, and environmental injustice by practical and systemic solutions, while grounding this work in our own spiritual and anti-racist justice stance. Today's collection will be used to help maintain the green space and the pollinator garden east of the church to help church members increase pollinator habitats in their own gardens, increase the tree canopy in the Summit University Rondo neighborhood through the Canopy Connectors Project, and advocate for climate justice in the 2023 state legislative session. You are also invited to visit Act for the Earth's team's table in the parish hall following the service and pick up a No Mow May pledge and learn about how to get connected to the work of this team. So I invite the ushers to come forward now and invite you to please give as generously as you can as we dedicate these offerings to the greater work of the church, which weaves a tapestry of love that we call community.
I wish for you to be free from doubt. When you feel left behind or left out, when the world seems brighter everywhere else, and your mind is lost inside a wishing well, right on time. You are right on time. You're right on time. Remember, the heart is a tender thing, restless and hopeful. It cries and sings, and sometimes you need shelter and a space to be a little tough, or not tough enough, a little lost at sea. And when everyone is racing and you join in, if you can, try running with a smile, 'cause there is a danger in going too fast. Getting too far ahead can set you back. Right on time. You are right on time. You're right on time. You are right on time. You're right on time. And when you're tired and on your own, cried so many tears, they're all gone. When there's nothing you haven't tried to fix this uncertain road. Oh, and everywhere you look, you see regrets, caught up in the past and what might have been. What we can never know will make our heads spin. Little love, little trust, a lot of forgiveness. Right on time. You are right on time. You're right on time.
for all those who are coming of age at age 14 or 15, or 25 or 45, even 85. You know that every year on Coming of Age Sunday, I present the agers in the community with a Zen Buddhist koan. For in certain Zen traditions, as my own, students are required to pass a series of koans as demonstration of their spiritual coming of age. Koans, those impossible questions that confound and shatter our fixed thinking, a Rubik's Cube of a question that twists and turns and unravels our certainties, prying open our hearts and minds just enough so that a greater truth and courage, a greater radiance enclosed within our hearts just might step forth into astonishment. Before dawn, Zen monks sit together in the charged stillness of a meditation hall. And from a nearby room, the teacher's handbell rings. Then another bell responds, 2 bells spicking back and forth. And then one of the student monks rises and sets off for the teacher's room for a round of encounters called Dokusan. Dokusan, that is at the heart of Zen Buddhist practice. The Roshi and students sitting together on the floor, facing inches apart from one another in the candlelit room. But that small room contains everything. The stars and earthworms, the poems and cities, school shootings and broken treaties, and the plastic pollution in our mountains and oceans, in the breast milk given to our newest members on this blue boat home. In that vastness of Dokusan steps forth the true person of no rank, no status, no entitlement, no presumption, everyone and everything completely themselves. And anything could happen in that encounter of 2 people practicing courage to be completely themselves, putting themselves on the line to meet one another with what is most real, most true, right here, right now. There may be laughter, tears, the sound of 2 hands and even 1 hand clapping, silence, or banging about the room, singing and dancing. But that Dokusan encounter making possible the deepest kind of relationship through which we come of age and find ourselves in this vivid universe. It is in Dokusan that koans are presented by the Zen master, and the student monk steps forth, risking a response to the koan. In the fall of 1948, in one of the monasteries of Korean Buddhism, a Dokusan took place between a monk named Seungsan and Zen master Kobong, who tested him with many difficult koans, all of which the younger Seungsan passed with ease. Then Zen master Kobong asked one final koan. The mouse eats cat food, but the cat bowl is broken. Now what? The 2 sat facing each other, eyes locked for close to an hour, with Seungsan offering many answers, but each response met with Kobong's no, no, until suddenly something turned, something broke through, and Seungsan presented an acceptable answer. And in January of the following year, Seungsan received formal recognition from his teacher, Master Kobong, and went on to become the 78th successor in the Choge order of Korean Buddhism. The mouse eats cat food, but the cat bowl is broken. Now what? Mouse eats cat food. Mouse eats cat food? Whatever mice may be, they're resourceful little creatures, and it's their very smallness, the very smallness of the Stuart littles of the species Mus musculus, which punctuates their swift, clever, daring faculty for scurrying around, squeezing into the tightest of spaces, and scoring small victories in order to survive among the perils of humans and cats, among forces much larger than they are. Maybe there is even a credo among mice, a statement of faith and purpose, born of their cramped, cautious, circumscribed existence, strained by fears of worries of running into mousetraps and cats in their relentless pursuit of cheese. A credo containing the 4 noble truths about mousehood. First, there is the suffering of having no cheese. Second, there is the cause for the suffering of having no cheese, which is too much attachment to cheese and, of course, aversion to cats. Third, there is liberation from delusions of cheese and realizing finally nirvana of awakened mousehood. And fourth, there is a path to ultimate mousehood, yes, which includes right views about cheese, right conduct and livelihood concerning cheese, and right effort and mindfulness of cheese. That may well be a credo befitting mice universal as they cautiously go about scavenging for leftovers and remains, scraps, and whatever they can find in a world of scarcity, where the dangers are all too real and the threats all too imminent. Perhaps it may be a credo, not just for mice, but a credo for how you and I start out in life. Most of us feeling timid, too little, lacking something, searching for something, always hungry for something. Until one day, our mousy self stumbles upon cat food. Curiosity overcomes caution, and the mouse invades that cat bowl. Cat food tastes like nothing else. Wow! It tastes like the real thing, the good stuff, loaded with protein and good fats and nutrients, and to boot, served in a bowl presumably by someone tasked to provide such life-nourishing resources on a regular basis. A corner office, 401k retirement plans, a weekend yoga meditation retreat, and an ashram somewhere. It's all about self-care, where we can eat, pray, and even find love. The little mouse eats cat food, and it's like rocket fuel that makes us feel big and powerful and important. We feel like Mighty Mouse. We eat a little cat food and we don't feel so mousy and scared and timid. And who among us would begrudge that when everywhere about us we move along the precarious path of a world, wobbling and stumbling along? Isn't that what church is for? What the Dharma centers are about? What spiritual practice is for? To come and grab a quick bite of cat food, feel empowerment, get what my mousy self needs so we can run out and play Mighty Mouse. Isn't that what church, a faith community, is really about? But the koan holds an open secret. Like an illusionist using the art of misdirection, the koan really isn't about the mouse eating cat food. The koan hides something only implied and hinted at, something left unspoken, but something any child would be on the lookout for, something stalking off to the side, waiting in the corner shadows to pounce. For what are mice if not cat food? The mouse thinks that what's in the cat bowl is cat food, but the mouse itself is the real cat food. And what is the cat bowl if not the container, the outer appearance, the mask of our small mousy selves? The cat bowl is broken. You and I are unmasked, for every dokusan is where our small mousy self gets broken open by Dharma the cat. Our spiritual coming of age has nothing to do with grabbing a quick bite out of a can of Fancy Feast or Friskies or whatever your favorite brand of cat food, to feel empowered, of getting my mousy self needs met, and then running out to play Mighty Mouse in a dangerous and fragmenting world. That has nothing to do with coming of age. The mouse eats cat food which is nothing other than our mousy, fearful, timid, far from perfect self. Mouse eats mouse. For spiritual practice is the very act of cutting through outer appearances and masks to the true person of no rank, no status, no artificial flavoring, no entitlement, no white privilege, grinding, gnashing, chewing, and swallowing and metabolizing not some canned food, but our very real, messy, complex, transcending mystery and wonder. What we are, as we are, completely, thoroughly ourselves, tasting and learning to discern what truly nourishes and what offers only empty calories and depletes life. But as the mouse practices metabolizing our own lives, the mouse starts to go beyond being such a timid little mouse, scavenging anxiously in a world of scarcity. It has no need, no fantasy, no desire to play at Mighty Mouse games to somehow make up for our small, mousy selves. We come of age when the cat bowl is broken, when the layers of appearance and false self are masticated and metabolized, and we discover to our astonishment what we are and what we have always been. We come of age when we glimpse an elusive and concealed truth as mercurial as that Cheshire cat, and just at the moment when it appears to be there, it vanishes, leaving behind only its wise and compassionate grinning, like it knows something about us that we may not yet be aware of. If you hold on to your life, you lose it, say many ancient voices of wisdom. But if you give your life away, it becomes everlasting life. The mouse eats cat food, but the cat bowl has to be broken. What next? Meow. Amen. We tell our children and youth there are no other people's children. We expose them to questions, living questions, that will carve the topography of their lives like the Colorado does to the Grand Canyon. And yesterday, we confer chords like this cincture to remind them that they are tethered to sources of courage, to commitments that go deeper than mere sentiment, that they are connected and threaded, that Unity Church-Unitarian embraces them in the bonds, the ties that forever hold us one to another. Unity Church, there are no other people's children. It is our shared ministry as we together with them together come of age. May it be so with our ministry this day and every day. Amen.
I remember the day we met. You changed my whole world. Like you knew right from the start, you were my little girl. Your heart beat next to mine. I felt so much love. And when you looked into my eyes, I knew I could trust. You got this. You can do it. Oh, this is your journey, and I'll be right here. Trust yourself. There's no need to worry. I see your strength, and this is just the beginning. Training wheels off to the side. Your helmet was just right. You were ready but hesitant, and you said, Mama, hold on tight. I ran beside you, then I let go, and you were riding all by yourself. Laughing out loud, you yelled, I'm doing it. And the bike fell down. You got this. You can do it. Oh, this is your journey, and I'll be right here. Trust yourself. Mistakes come with learning. I see your strength, and this is just the beginning. The last bag is in your dorm, and I'm closing the trunk. I can't believe you won't be coming back home until Thanksgiving comes. I look at you and you look at me. Oh, it's time for goodbye. Before you head off with your friends, I hug you one last time. You got this. You can do it. Oh, this is your journey, and I'll be right here. Trust yourself. There's no need to worry. I see your strength, and this is just the beginning. I get in the car and I turn the key. It's so hard to leave. Oh, there's a waterfall in my eyes as I say to me, you got this. You can do it. This is her journey. She knows you're right here. Trust yourself. It's normal to worry. We both have strength, and this is just the beginning.